Whether it's dandelions in their lawn or crabgrass in their garden, customers come to you for answers to their weed problems.
In this session, we'll discuss how to prevent and control weeds.
Kelly, there are several different ways to control weeds, but before we get into that, let's cover some weed basics.
Sure thing, Walt. There are two types of weeds, broadleaf and grassy. Broadleaf weeds, such as dandelions, have wide leaves and often have brightly colored flowers. Grassy weeds, like crabgrass, have round or flat stems and long, narrow leaves. Another type of grassy weed, called a sedge, has a triangular stem, like nutsedge. Sometimes weeds are categorized as annual or perennial weeds. Annual weeds sprout from seed, flower, and then make more seeds in a year's time or less. Perennial weeds are the toughest weeds to control. The part above the ground may die, but new growth comes from the roots each spring, and they generally live for more than 2 years.
Knowing the different types of weeds helps you recommend the best control method.
Though there are many different ways to control weeds, most weed control principles are the same for lawns and flower or vegetable gardens. The best way to keep lawns and gardens healthy and strong is with regular mowing, watering, fertilizing, and mulching. First, determine the type of weed before recommending a way to get rid of it. If the customer doesn't know, help identify it by asking to see the actual weed.
Kelly, there's a customer looking at chemical weed killers. Let's see if we can help him out. Hi.
Hi.
Can we help you pick out an herbicide?
Yes, I need something that will control dandelions.
All right. Are they growing now, or do you want to prevent them from growing?
They're growing now, and I want to kill them now.
Where are they growing?
They're growing on my lawn.
Walt's question, as simple as they may seem, actually are very important and give a lot of information. His first question, are they growing now, or do you want to prevent them from growing, helps determine if the customer needs a pre-emergent or post-emergent herbicide. Pre-emergent herbicides kill weeds before they grow. These are weeds that have been there in the past and will probably return. Post-emergent herbicides get rid of weeds that are currently growing. The customer's response to Walt's second question, where are they growing, determines if the customer needs a selective or non-selective herbicide. Selective herbicides control only specific weeds and won't harm other plants. They're used in areas like a lawn, where you want to get rid of a weed without harming the grass. Non-selective herbicides kill any plants or grasses they contact. Usually they're used on driveways, patios, and sidewalks, where you aren't worried about lawns and plants.
All right, you've got dandelions growing in your lawn. Now, we can use this product, but let's take a look at it.
Well, it has dandelions on the picture, so I guess it'll kill dandelions. What else do I need to know?
Actually, the label will tell you how and where to use this herbicide, but let's make sure that this is the right one for you. As you can see, all the important product information is listed in the product label. The label tells you exactly what weeds you can use the herbicide on and where the product is recommended for use, like a lawn or a driveway. It lists the required application equipment and the measuring directions. Just remember to follow the directions exactly. And that's very important. More is definitely not better. If herbicides aren't used in the proper proportions, they can cause damage to plants and soil. So follow the directions exactly, word by word, and kill the weeds, not your lawn or garden. Some other things on the label to be aware of are the clothing that you should wear and how long you need to wait before people or pets can re-enter the treated area. You've got the right herbicide. You have a way to apply it.
No, I don't, and I guess I do need something to put it down with.
Okay, well, let me show you what we have. There's several types of applicators available. We have hose end sprayers, tank sprayers, and ready-to-use spray bottles. Hose end sprayers hook right up to a garden hose and allow you to spray the weed killer over a large area. Tank sprayers are usually 2 to 3 gallon tanks that hold a mixture of herbicide and water. You just pump the tank and spray to apply the chemical. Ready-to-use products are pre-mixed herbicides and water that come in a spray bottle. Now, these are good for spot treating small areas. The right equipment can mean the difference between an herbicide working or not.
I could see that. I'll go with the hose and sprayer. I have a fairly large lawn, and that should do the job. And also, do you have anything that you can recommend that the dandelions will not come up next year?
A thick, healthy lawn is the best defense against invading weeds. But if dandelions are a problem year after year, you may want to use a selective pre-emergent herbicide in the fall or early spring, before the next crop of dandelions sprout from seed. If you have other questions, We have a reference guide and some other literature here that you can use. If that doesn't help, or you want additional information, you can always call the County Cooperative Extension Office. The master gardener there should be able to answer any of your questions. You can also call the manufacturers. Most have toll-free telephone numbers. Nowadays, a lot of the manufacturers have internet sites. But remember, labels are one of the best resources for proper application information.
Thanks for your help.
You're welcome.
Hi.
Hi, I heard you helping that man with some weed problems, and I've got weeds and crabgrass in my vegetable garden. I don't want to use chemicals, so what can I do?
Okay, not a problem. If you just follow us over to the other section, there's a lot of selections, and we'll just try and find the best one for you.
Okay, great.
Okay, here we have the cedar mulch, and here's the best solution to your problem: no chemicals.
One of the least expensive ways to control weeds without the use of herbicides is to use a little elbow grease and pull the weeds out by hand. Before planting, you could use a rototiller to make your job a little easier. Or you may want to use a tool like a weed puller, a shovel, spade, or a hoe to help. When removing weeds, be careful not to damage other plants. Remove the weed and root system and discard the entire weed. If you want to use a weed killer in your garden or flower bed, there are some pre-emergent products available. Apply these herbicides early in the season throughout your garden and flower beds to kill weeds before they grow. They usually last for the entire growing season. But the best way to prevent weeds from growing is to have a strong and healthy garden. Use quality seeds and plants. Keep up your garden with regular watering and weeding and fertilizing. To keep out grass, you can use edging materials like brick, plastic, or wood to place between your yard and your garden.
What are the benefits of mulch?
Mulch will cut down the weeds. Mulches control weeds by preventing weed seeds from sprouting. Plus, they hold moisture and reduce soil erosion.
What kind of mulch should I use?
Mulches can be either organic or synthetic. Grass clippings, shredded leaves, or straw are organic mulches, and they're great for vegetable and flower gardens. You should spread several inches of mulch at the beginning of the growing season. If you plant seeds, spread a thin layer of mulch after the seedlings are 2 to 3 inches tall. But if you plant seedlings, just spread the mulch around the base of the plants. If you have ornamental trees and shrubs, use wood chips, shredded bark, or ground corncob mulches.
Black plastic and landscaping fabric are excellent synthetic mulches for vegetables and flower gardens. They stop weeds from growing, and they help keep the soil warm. They also allow water to penetrate through them. Place the material over the soil and then spread a layer of mulch on top. Fabrics act as a barrier between the weeds and the ground, so the weeds can't grow. If you use plastic or fabric, plant your garden plants after you lay the material down. Just cut small holes in the material where you want to put the plant.
To give customers the best advice about weed control, remember to first gather some information about the weed problem. Ask the customers what types of weed they're trying to eliminate. Then, through questions, determine if they need a pre-emergent or post-emergent and a selective or non-selective herbicide.
Ask them if they have the right application equipment. If not, recommend the proper sprayer or other tools.
And most importantly, read the label. Most of the customers' questions are answered right there.
And don't forget to tell customers their options if they don't want to use chemicals. Suggest mulching to control weeds in a garden. Well, that pretty much wraps it up for weed control. We'll see you in the garden. Bye-bye.
Bye.
This module is sponsored by Lebanon Seaboard Corporation, and by H.D. Hudson Manufacturing Company.